Well, good morning, everyone, and my name is Kerry Brown, and this is Hangout with Coach Kerry's Monday mornings, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Here's how you can start your week. You can come and get some coaching, and we're covering a variety of topics, and currently we're working on a series on systemizing. And systems are really important for a business because it helps you with your time management. It helps you so you're not recreating and reinventing the wheel every single time. It allows you to be consistent with your customers and your clients. So let me ask you a question. Would you like to have an endless stream of clients coming to you because all your networking efforts are paying off big time? Say yes if that's you.
Yes. Sounds good.
Great. Well, then you're in the right place. Today's topic is we're talking about one of the top 5 marketing strategies that we covered off in a previous episode, and this is on networking. And specifically today, we're going to be talking about networking events and why it's a very effective, very cost-effective, and results-generating activity that you can use to build your business, to create new customers. And if you even have a business that's long-term, that's been existing, and you've got a good group of clients for those, but you're branching out into a new area, and you need to find some new clients or customers for this new area of your business, networking can be a very, very important strategy to be able to build those that client base for that new product. So the first thing I want to cover off today is why is it important to sort of get your head in the game before you go out to a networking event. It's really important that you go out with the right mindset and the right intention. So if you are going to networking events, so let me ask you this, are you currently going to networking events and maybe your results are less than satisfactory for you? You may be going to events and really evaluating, is this really what is the best use of my time? Well, I think that's a really good question to be asking yourselves. And the first thing you want to think about is, what's my mindset going into those networking events? Do I go in with the intention that I want to sell somebody something that I have, or today I'm looking for a new client? And if that's the case, I'm going to suggest that that's not the best mindset for you to be going to a networking event. The mindset that you want to be going to a networking event is, how can I be of service? How can I be a connector? How can I be the person who's putting this person and this person together? Because what that does, that establishes your credibility in the marketplace. People see you as being a well-connected individual. It establishes your know, like, and trust factor, what we call a KLT factor, much faster than almost any other way. Because if you're attending events with the attitude of, I want to be that connector, I want to be of service to these people, I want to find out what they need, then you're going to be seen as somebody that is not there, that's there with a self-serving attitude. I don't know about you, but when I've been to networking events, I can kind of almost smell those people in the room that are there with the intention of, how many business cards can I hand out today, and how many people can I pitch on what I'm doing. Now, yes, having a well-crafted 30-second commercial on what you do is important, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later. However, that's different than you going with the intention of, I need to be pitching people. Because what happens is that if you ask someone what they're doing, or what their business is, and yet your mindset is, I need to get my message over because I need to convert someone, I need some business, you're not even listening to what they have to say, and they know it. They know that you're not engaged in that relationship. So if attending networking events is a very important marketing strategy for you, then it's really important that you have the right mindset, that you go in about building relationships. That's the key piece to networking events, is you've got to go in with the attitude that you're starting the beginning of building a relationship. And then over time, you will develop those relationships that could turn into either good strategic alliances for you or also clients for you. But most important in the very beginning is you're going with that mindset of relationship building. So what you want to do is share your knowledge and give freely. So if someone's at an event and you're asking them about their business and maybe they're struggling with something or you have an idea immediately, be the kind of person that shares freely your information and your knowledge. That's going to give you that instant credibility. Provide those referrals to other people because it may bring you referrals, but more importantly, again, establish that credibility for you. And what it does is that it builds fans for your business. Because even if that person may not do business with you right now, may not need to, they might already have a long established relationship with someone else. However, if you show up over and over again that you are a person who they see as being a connector, a giver of your knowledge, that you're going to be top of mind to them. And I guarantee you what happens for me is that if I think there's a fit between that person and someone I know, I'm going to make that connection, even though I might already have an existing relationship with a person that provides that product or service. Also going there with the intention that you're looking for good strategic alliances. Those are people in the marketplace that may have the same audience as you do, who may be, you may be able to do some things together. So for an example, a realtor and a home stager, an accountant, a bookkeeper, and a business coach. Those are the kinds of services that complement each other. So you can maybe think about doing some joint marketing efforts together. So be looking for those people who can be really good connections for you. And then also, who are good joint venture partners? So that might be a person where you might do co-promotions together. Someone who has a list that's maybe similar size as yours, where some knowledge that you have could be a really good value added for their clients, and in turn you could offer something to their clients as well. So looking for joint venture partners where you might actually be able to monetize that, be able to put a product value on that, or a value to it that the two of you could do where you could generate some more business as a result of that. So that's about going into networking events with this mindset that you're looking for a way that you could build those relationships. Because I guarantee if you go in with an attitude of, I'm going in to see what I can get out of this event, you're going to get a big fat zero as a result of it. Because people aren't looking for people who are in it for them. Would you guys both agree on that?
Oh, yes.
For sure, yeah.
So today I want to introduce to you our two Academy member panelists and have them share with you what they do, because you never know that you may be watching this show and you may see what they do and say, they could be a good strategic alliance. They could be a good joint venture partner. And this could be a good networking opportunity for you. So let's hear from Kathy first. Kathy Scott, tell everybody what you do and how they can find you and maybe who might be a good joint venture or strategic partner for you.
Sounds great, Kerry. Thanks for having me on again. My name's Kathy Scott, and I have a wonderful little business called Niche Travel. I specialize in women's tours all over the world, unique boutique tours for small groups of women. And I would say a good strategic partnership for me would be any women-centric business, clothing stores, or networking companies, or anything where there's groups of women who might be interested in hearing more about my tours.
Great.
And they can find me at www.nichetravel.ca or nichewomenstours.ca.
That's great. And Kathy, you can speak to, and you can deal with women all over North America, Europe, anyone really who wants to put a tour together, and you could provide that for them. They don't have to be in a locale. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So any online products or services that might be a good fit for you in terms of your audience as well could be a good connection for you as well.
That would be great.
Yeah, good. Excellent. So Diana, tell our audience about you and what you offer, and maybe who might be a good strategic alliance or joint venture partner for you.
Thanks, Kerry. So I'm Dr. Diana Galbraith. My company is First Get Healthy. And as a former family physician, I've seen many professional women who spend so much time and energy on their business and sometimes on their family, and often at the expense of their own health and well-being. So what I do is I really sit down with these women and come up with a plan that fits into their busy schedule so that they can make it work. And then I hold them accountable and help them get to those health goals and get their energy back and lose those extra pounds and get where they want to be. So as a strategic partner, fitness trainers, spas, fitness clubs, those kind of areas actually make really good strategic partners for me, because while I touch upon those areas, I don't get into the specifics, but I get into the specifics of a lot of other areas, so we really can complement each other.
Great. Good. So audience out there, who do you know that you might be able to connect these people with? So it may not even be specifically something that you do, but again, this is how you can be a connector and build those relationships. So here's a perfect example of a networking event in a way to show you how it can be done. So Kathy, do you have a question for me today regarding networking events?
I do, Kerry. What I wanted to ask was, what do I need to have in place when going to a networking event before I go?
Great. So there's some things to prepare. We obviously, first thing, already talked about having that right mindset. So that's the number one piece. But then you also want to prepare and be clear ahead of time who might be a good strategic partner for you. So that when you're interacting with people, if they might ask you, how can I, who do you need? Is there a connection that you need? And in fact, those are really good questions for you to ask people when you're at a networking event. How can I help you? What resource do you need? So if you're prepared ahead of time of who that might be, and I really want to encourage you, most of us, because we're passionate about what we do, think that everybody could use our product or service. But I'm going to suggest to you, when you go to networking events, and even for any kind of marketing, is you really have to be clear who your specific audience is. Who is that specific person? Even be able to identify them, psychographically, geographically, demographically, so that you're really clear who they are. So that when you're going to a networking event, you're clear who your ideal client is, and then you're on the lookout for them. And you can articulate that. So when you're talking to people, you're listening for those clues as to whether they might be an ideal person for you to actually start building that relationship with. Or again, if you're speaking to a strategic alliance potential partner, then and they ask you, so who is your ideal audience? Then you can be specific about that. So your ideal audience, who is an ideal strategic alliance partner for you? Who is an ideal joint venture partner for you? So those are really key. You want to also spend some time crafting your what I'm going to call your 30-second commercial. And it's really not necessarily what your title is. So if you're a bookkeeper, really, that doesn't help people help you with connections. So what you might say is, well, what I do is I help small business owners eliminate the overwhelm they have regarding their receipts and their monthly financing and reporting and tracking. Now that's how you solve a problem for a specific audience that you have. So create that compelling 30-second or so elevator speech, so that you're articulating how you solve problems for your ideal audience, so that the person who's asked you that, if it's them, it resonates with them. Mm-hmm. And if it isn't them, how it resonates enough with them that they can actually imagine who that person is. So then they may at that moment have a referral for you. But certainly later on, you're going to continue, as you continue that relationship, they're going to be clear who that person is. There's been a lot written about referrals and how to get referrals. And one of the biggest issues is that when we are unclear with who our ideal audience is, when we're communicating that with people, it's almost impossible for them to go into that Rolodex in their brain and be able to say, oh, that's that person that I want to connect with Kathy, or that's that person I want to connect with Diana. Because the problem is that when we're too general in our statements, then it's impossible for us to go into that Rolodex in our brain and find that person who's a great connection. So help people help you by being really specific about who it is you serve, what it is you do, and most importantly, what problem you solve. And we'll be dealing with a specific episode on that, how to create that, because it is important. And remember, the intention about it isn't to create a client right then and there. It's actually to get them thinking, to start building that relationship, to understand who it is you serve. So that's the other piece that you've got to have in place. It's really important. And the last thing is you want to have a pen and your business cards. Now, in networking, there's a rule that's really important, and that is the person who, so here's the rule that is not to be followed. The person who hands out most business cards wins. In fact, I don't know about you, but if someone, and would you both agree to me that if somebody hands you a business card and you haven't asked for it, and they say, well, here's one of my business cards, are you a little stumped with what to do with that card?
For sure.
And where does it usually end up?
Garbage can.
Yeah.
Right. Right. It may have their picture on it, so it may move around your desk a little bit because you sort of feel like it's the person there and you don't want to put it into your recycle bin. But the fact of the matter is there's no reason for you to have that connection with them. So please, please, please do not follow that principle of I need to hand out as many business cards as I can. Whoever taught that really, really were the wrong philosophy. So what's the best philosophy? Give a card out when it's asked for, or ask for business cards. Be that person, and then they might in turn ask for one of yours, but it's because of connections already starting to happen, because there's a purpose behind that. And the other most important thing is if you've got a pen and your business card with you, then what you want to do is you want to be able to take your business card and turn it over, and when you're listening intently for what that person's doing, you might write on the back of your card, call me regarding the such and such that you're looking for, or that connection, or I think there's some way I may be able to help you. So if you want your business card in someone else's hand, take that business card, write on the back of it, and hand it to them. So Kathy and Diana, if you get a card like that, what are you more compelled to do?
Follow up.
Yeah, follow through with what you said you would do. And
yeah. Exactly. Because then now you have a reason to pick up that phone and call that person. And don't we want people to call us? Absolutely. So give them a reason. Be that connector. Find that way for you to be able to give them those connections. So Kathy, those are the basic things. Have your ideal client, your ideal strategic partner, and joint venture partner identified before you go. Of course, right mindset beforehand. Create your compelling answer to, what do you do? That's your elevator speech. And have your cards and pen handy so that you're able to make those connections. So Kathy, did that answer your question? Did it raise any other questions for you?
No, perfectly succinct. Thank you, Kerry. It's great.
Great. Good. Excellent. So Diana, for you, do you have a question for me?
yes, and that was great, Kerry. So once you've made that connection with someone, what do you recommend in terms of systems or in terms of just making sure that you carry through with the follow-up? And do you have any tips on that?
Absolutely, because we're talking about marketing systems right now, and specifically around networking events. And really this would go for any time you've made a connection, whatever that happens to be. But specifically for networking events, there's some really key things. Is that if you're consistently attending a networking event, either it's every week, twice a week, once a month, whatever it is, in your calendar, either immediately following that event, maybe it's an early morning or a day event, or if it's an evening event that following morning, I'm going to really encourage you to put into your calendar time set aside to do follow-up, so it's there. Because if it's not in your calendar, likely the tyranny of the urgent is going to happen. Something's going to happen and take over, and that business card's going to sit on your desk, and it's going to be days afterwards. And that connection that you've made is going to start fading in that person's mind. So as if it becomes stale dated pretty quickly. So you do want to do something really quickly. So first of all, have that as a regular structure in your calendar so that you've got it scheduled for you to be able to do that follow-up, that connection that's there. And how can you do that? Well, there's a number of ways. One of them can be through email, of course. One of them can be through the telephone. So if it's a direct connection about call me regarding such and such, pick up the phone and make that connection. Absolutely. Think about maybe how you might have something that you could offer that person, and not in terms of your product or service, but a connection before you make that connection. So take a minute and prepare for it so that if you've got somebody that you think will be a good connection for them in return, then what's that going to do? That's going to up your know, like, and trust factor really quickly. And that's the job of building relationships, is to build that KLT, that know, like, and trust factor. So you can use a phone, email, Facebook them, message through them, LinkedIn, Google Plus circles, and also connect with them through social media. So go onto LinkedIn and make a connection with them. Go onto Facebook and friend them. Like their business page. Make comments on their business pages. Put them in your circle in Google Plus. Make a comment. Start building that relationship over that. You're going to build it and make it, and you can make it go really fast. So even if you might not, your events might be once a month, you can easily accelerate that relationship in a week's time by picking up the phone, doing all of these strategies, and making sure that you are consistent about that every single time. So look for ways to connect with them. Be that connector and make those additional interactions. So let's say, Diana, for an example, someone had given you a card and said, call me regarding such and such. So you're going to pick up the phone and you're going to call them, prepared already with a connection you might be able to give them in return. Then the next day, that same day, go on and make those connections through social media. Comment on their Facebook page, comment on LinkedIn, make a connection. Share something of theirs on Google Plus, whatever social media strategies you're using. Invite them out to another event. Think about other ways that you could be a support for them. I'm always thinking about other events that I go to. Would that be a person who would benefit from being at that event? What does that do? That makes me a connector. It just happened. In fact, I'm a member of one of our local chambers of commerce. I was at an event just a few days ago, and there was a gentleman there who had a particular business that I knew this particular organization didn't have anybody in that particular category, and obviously they're at a networking event. What are they looking to do? To increase their profile, probably do some business development, develop some new clients or customers. So I invited them to come out as my guest. So what am I immediately seen as?
A connector.
Absolutely. What did that do in terms of my profile and my stature in terms of a person in the community?
Well, it raised it.
Absolutely. Kathy, you were going to say something?
I was going to say you're top of mind now.
Absolutely. So it isn't just going to that event. That follow-up piece is really critical, and to put that system in place so you know. So I would even recommend having a checklist. Sometimes it's, again, rather than reinventing the wheel, post-networking event follow-up strategy. What are those checklists? Put it into a sleeve or put it into a binder and create that for yourself. And then after an event, you pull it out and you go through it and make sure you follow up with all those, follow all those pieces. And that's how you build the people who are liking you on Facebook, because chances are, if you don't have a Facebook page, for an example, but you're building these relationships through other ways, even through just friends, and then you ask them to like your page, are they more likely to like your page because you've been a connector for them? Absolutely. Are they more likely to share your business page with other people that they know and expand your circle? Absolutely that it is. So this is how, when I talked about networking events, can be a very cost-effective and a very strategic way to really accelerate your relationship networking sort of tentacles out of the community really, really fast. So I really encourage you to think about that, preparation piece, what you're doing at the event, having that compelling elevator speech, and then what you do afterwards. There's those three components that are really critical. So Diana or Kathy, any other clarifications or questions that you might need from me right now?
No, that was very good.
What
Great.
I might ask you, Kerry, is as a coach, as a business coach, what do you have a challenge for us?
Well, of course, as a coach, that's one of my jobs, isn't it? To well, first of all, create clarity around what clients need, then plan the strategy. So that's what we're doing right now, is planning the strategy for networking, and then there's accountability. That's the next piece, and that's where challenges come in. So thanks, Kathy, for that. I'm going to challenge each and every one of you. So that's Diana and Kathy and all of you listeners, is this week to go out and make 5 new connections. 5 connections. Now that isn't just somebody that you've said hello to, but that's somebody that you're actually using what we've talked about today to expand that network. So if you did that every single week, that's 20 in a month. And remember, those people all know at least 200 to 500 people. It used to be 200 people before social media, social networking, but now that's either 500 to 1,000 other people that those people know. So your challenge this week is 5 new people. Are you guys up for it?
Sounds good.
You bet.
Challenging.
Okay, good. So that's your challenge for the week. 5 new connections. How can you do that? And if you start out with that intention this week, remember that mindset and that conversation is, I'm going to meet 5 new connections this week that are going to help me generate my business and grow my business. You're going to bring the forces of the law of attraction working for you as well in that, which is great. So what's our next episode, Diana, for next week?
Well, it's something that I'm really excited to hear about, and it's all about creating that compelling elevator speech that you alluded to today. So I think it'll be a really good one.
Great, thank you. So that's 9 a.m. Pacific time is live. Remember, though, you can also go to www.hangoutwithcoachkerry.com, and Kerry spelled Kerry. All past episodes are on that website, and you'll be able to watch that particular one as well. So make sure you go back and watch some of the previous episodes that will build on some of the strategies that we're using today. So again, my challenge for you this week is to go and make 5 new connections, and we will talk to you next week. In the meantime, have an inspired week. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with me today. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kerry.
Good night. Bye.